I'd like to start this off by reading a poem. This was sent to me by one of my good friends, Tony. Shout out to Tony at Reflective Wisdom. He is always right on time with the things that he sends me and the things that he shares with me. So, this is a poem by Adrian Michael Green, and the poem is called Protesting is a Love Language. I am not being heard. You are not listening. Change needs to be made. Repair must be done. Don't you see I am hurt? Historical pain. I can't do this anymore. The waiting, the being unseen, these signs, these screams, this boiling is my right to object, to disapprove, to stand. No more. No more. Open your eyes and your heart. You will respect me by any means. Hear my roar. Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kimberland, and I'm an educational advocate and consultant, a life coach, and a professional frolicker. And this is Minding My Black Ass Business. This episode, I have on my educational advocate hat as I am sharing the traumatic and disturbing events that happened to me while I was working on behalf of the Pennsylvania Department of Education with Chester County Intermediate Unit in Chester County, Pennsylvania, from August of 2020 through June of 2021. My work was in school improvement, specifically in school climate and culture. And what I found out is that school improvement in Pennsylvania is a sham and it's a scam. So I'm here to talk about it. If you missed parts 1 and 2, please click the link to the playlist in the description so you can catch up. So this is the thing. I had to make some really quick pivots because the good folks in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania do not want me talking about the things that I am sharing. So today I am streaming on Patreon live, and the replay is going to be posted on my Facebook page as well as my YouTube page, both at Minding My Black Ass Business. Where privacy will be honored and made aware of. So, this experience today is a little bit more lonely than it has been. Some of you all have been rocking along with me as I've been sharing this story and continue to give me love and support in the comments. But unfortunately, because my Patreon page is new and I knew I needed to get this information out, I am rocking by myself today. I'm rocking solo. So it's all good. Everything's going to be all right. And I know that. So I'm just going to channel your support, knowing that you all are supporting me as I share this. The number of messages that I've gotten, the number of DMs, the number of comments that I've gotten of support, I really, really appreciate those. And they keep me going in this fight. This is could be a very terrifying type of situation, but thankfully I am no longer in the grips and holds of that system, and therefore I'm not afraid to share. But nonetheless, it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack these videos and watch myself live this traumatic experience that I walk through, but I actually have the opportunity to watch it as an observer. And it really has brought up some feelings, and I felt things like in my body as I'm sharing this. So I made a video about that as well. And I talked about vulnerability and basically that I am making a choice to be vulnerable, to be completely transparent with you all as I react to these videos in real time, as I share the details of what happened while I was there. So I know that many of you will be watching this after the fact, but I could use some love in the comments. So go ahead and send me any good vibes, well wishes that you might have. I really appreciate it. I read them all and they all keep me going. So having said that, this is part 3 of this story that I have been sharing, again, regarding my experience working on behalf of the Pennsylvania Department of Education, employed by Chester County Intermediate Unit in Chester County, Pennsylvania, working in the school improvement system, specifically in school climate and culture. Episodes 1 and 2 focused on the report that I made to the Human Resources Department in Chester County intermediate unit regarding the culture that I was experiencing. I shared some specific concerns and grievances with the representative, we'll call her HR Mary. And now I left it at that point. So the last video was I finished reporting, I did my reactions, what have you. Well, this video, I want to tell you all what happened in between the time that they got back with me about their findings. Okay, so we are going to pick up, let's say December 15th of 2020. So again, the day before, I had just reported everything to HR Mary. You can again get a recap of that back in episode 1 and episode 2, and those will be linked in the description for you if you need to go back and catch up. So I spilled my heart out to HR Mary. I told her all the things that were happening, how I felt about everything that happened, et cetera, et cetera. So the very next day, so I want to go back. I want to look at my calendar because I want to try to get an understanding of what days of the week it was and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go back in my calendar to 2020. December. Okay, so December 14th of 2020, that was a Monday. So that was the day that I spoke with her. Well, that very next day, as I had shared everything that I shared with HR Mary, she wound up calling me. And so I had a work phone, right? So she calls me on my work phone, and I want to pull up some things so I can show you all the types of things that happened. But nonetheless, she called me on my work phone. And I didn't recognize the number. So when she called, she's like, "Hi, this is Mary from HR. I had some follow-up questions for you. I wanted to know when we can talk to discuss this follow-up." And it really caught me off guard because I had made it very clear to her already on December 14th when I made the original claim that I felt like I needed to record interactions in order to have them on record. So I was kind of like taken aback, and I was like, I'm in a meeting or something, I don't know, but I was like, we can talk on Thursday. So we arranged to talk on Thursday. She sends me a calendar invite. Okay, so now we're at December 17th. So December 17th, this was a phone call again. No, maybe it was a Zoom. I didn't record it. At any rate, whatever, I believe it was a Zoom because she sent me the calendar invite. And I didn't record it, right? Which now I'm like, damn, I really should have recorded every single interaction I had with them, but it's all good. But basically, in the gist of that conversation, she asked me again, what did I want to see happen? And I told her that I wanted a new evaluator. And I wanted the behaviors to stop immediately. So basically, on that call, what she said to me was, Jana is the supervisor, and she's going to be the supervisor, basically. So she was like, if you feel like you need to have a neutral party with you, then you can have a neutral party with you. But Jana, she gonna be the supervisor. So such is life. So I was kind of like, okay. Okay, interesting. So I needed some time to process that, right? So, okay, so that was on Thursday, the 17th. So the next communication that I have with HR Mary is on December 19th, which is a Saturday. Okay. So I am going to share my screen so that you all can see what I am looking at. Let me just make sure that I have windows closed that I don't need. All right. So I'm going to share my screen so that you all are able to see what I'm looking at and read this along with me as I am sharing. Okay. So it's this one right here. Perfect. All right. So this is an email thread that between HR Mary and myself, and this email thread leads up to the point where they actually follow up with me about my complaints. Okay. So it goes from the bottom up because you know how when you like copy emails, you know, the first email is at the bottom. So I'm going to be scrolling up as we're going through this. All right. All right. So, and as you can see, there's certain information that is redacted in order to honor people's privacy and all of that. All right. So this message was sent Saturday, December 19th. 2020 at 8:30 in the morning. So I told you I initially made my claim with HR Mary on December 14th. That was a Monday. She called me on December 15th to schedule a time for me to talk to her on December 17th. On December 17th, I clarified with her what I wanted to see happen, which was to have a new evaluator and for these behaviors to stop. So December 17th is the last time I talked to her. And then she sends me an email on Saturday, December 19th, which of course I don't get until Monday, December 21st. All right. Okay. So here we go. So her message says, "Hi, Kimberland. I apologize I did not email you yesterday. I shared with Danielle, the Assistant Director of HR at CCIU. Again, CCIU is Chester County Intermediate Unit. Your concerns and what you feel would need to take place in order for you to feel safe to continue to work in this position. I will give you an update once next steps are determined. I did tell Jana, who is my supervisor, that your evaluation is being delayed and she removed the calendar invite. I am off for the next 2 weeks, but I am checking email and my phone. So please text or email if you need anything. Enjoy your time off in the next 2 weeks. HR Mary." So I received the message on December 21st, which is a Monday. Okay, so that's 1 week after I had reported the incident. All right, so here we go. I got it on the 21st. I responded, so I needed some time to process what was going on. So I responded on Tuesday, December 22nd, first thing that morning. "Hi, Mary. Thank you for this follow-up. I too intended to send a recap email, but realized I needed more time to process. I did notice that my 90-day evaluation has been canceled by Jana and delayed until late January, as you shared on 12/16/2020. According to our 12/17/2020 conversation, my understanding is that my only recourse in this matter is to have someone join me in my evaluation and/or meetings with Jana, as she is the supervisor for this project. Is this the only option we have, or is there a viable long-term solution? Are we going to proceed in the current work environment? Although our conversation was necessary and aided in sharing what our work environment has been, I still am uncomfortable and maintain concerns. If the environment continues to be inappropriate, dismissive, toxic, and hostile, what is our next course of action? Can you outline all possible contingencies? I thank you for alternative perspective during our conversation, and I agree with the few points we shared. Jana is the supervisor, and I agree, but that is still not a solution for the above concerns. Supervisor or not, we do not accept toxic behavior in the workplace, more so now that we must work under less than ideal situations, remotely, and conditions that exacerbate the overall impact on personal well being. We agree it can also be a result of ignorance or even stress, but these are still not reasons for one to have to endure a hostile work environment. It becomes a toll and burden on one, but it hurts us all when production is negatively impacted. Please share the next steps in getting us closer to the place of establishing a healthy and positive workplace. My goal is to be able to work in an affirming and productive environment, but at this point, we are coming up short. I am having trouble seeing a clear path to resolution. I need help having more faith in this process and knowing it is possible for us to get to a place where there is a positive working environment for us all. Thank you. Okay, so that's my response to what she said. And again, that was on December 22nd. Now, what you might notice, especially if any of you all live in the HR realm, is that you might notice that I'm using intentional language, right? So I'm talking about it being toxic. I'm talking about it being hostile. I'm recapping. So again, remember, I told you I didn't record that 1217 meeting, but I wanted to make sure that I recapped in this email exactly what happened or what my understanding was walking away from that meeting. Because basically I'm telling you that this woman is subjecting me to racist microaggressions, microinvalidations, just not respecting me as a professional. This is a hostile and toxic place, and you're telling me she's gonna be the supervisor. So she's gonna be the supervisor. Like, there was no resolution outside of you can take somebody with you to meetings, but she gonna be the supervisor. So I wanted to make sure that I documented all of that, right? Because I honestly couldn't believe what I was being told. Like, I was like, that's your response, huh? Okay, cool. And I was like processing in real time what that was going to look like. All right. So again, I emailed her on, let me go back to the timestamp. Let me get y'all back over here. So I emailed her on December 22nd at 8:48 p.m. Okay. And something that I love is that emails are public record. So all of these emails could be pulled, right? If there were any claims about whether I doctored something or whatever outside of redacting all of this information that is here. All right. Okay. So I emailed her December 22nd at 8:48 a.m. She emails me back at 8:56 a.m. She says, "Hi, Kimberland. Thank you for taking the time to respond to my email. I am working with Danielle on what the course of action will be to ensure you are comfortable and safe in your working environment. I apologize. With the holidays, there may be a delay, but we'll continue to work on what the next steps will be. Again, thank you for giving us the opportunity to address your concerns to ensure your work environment is a healthy and positive one. I will be in touch as soon as I have an update. HR Mary." Now, what I find interesting about this, and you all will, once I get to the video, you'll be able to make your own conclusions and piece some things together. But this response, I told you I made the initial claim on December 14th, which was a Monday. And then December 21st is when I got the email that she had sent. So I sent my response December 22nd. So clearly this is about to be Christmas, right? So we got out for the holidays that Wednesday, December 23rd. But there was an entire week, actually 9 days before break, right? But she was saying, just want to let you know, because the holidays is going to be a delay, right? But the work should have already started because this claim should have been taken seriously, right? But okay, no worries. So there might be a delay because of The holidays, whatever. Okay, cool. So December 23rd, which is that Wednesday before winter break, the day after I had this email communication with HR Mary, I messaged Rosemary. So again, Rosemary Hughes was the liaison to the Secretary of State, to the Secretary of Education. She was the person who was the Department of Education representative for the project, right? So she was like, our clients, PDE, I'm working on behalf of Pennsylvania Department of Education down here in this intermediate unit, CCIU. So I'm gonna try to make some type of organizational chart, or find the one organizational chart, find the one that they sent, so that y'all can kind of keep all this together, because this is a lot. So that next day I had, or one of those days, I had reached out to Rosemary and asked Rosemary if we could speak. Because again, Rosemary and Kristen Leewald, the two leaders. So again, Rosemary is like Department of Education. Kristen Leewald is the one who's over school improvement. So they're the leaders at the top of the system. So they're the ones who I originally had reported all my concerns to. So I felt like Rosemary did hear what I was saying, and I felt like she was a somewhat safe place to be able to advocate for myself. So I reached out to Rosemary after I talked to HR. I let her know that I had talked to HR, and then I wanted her advice on what she thought should happen, because she seemed to be very concerned about the situations that were occurring. So I have a phone call with Rosemary, and I have screenshots of all that, but I won't show that because of phone numbers and such. But I had a phone call with Rosemary, and I basically was like, what do you think I should do? And Rosemary said, well, why can't they just put you under another IU? So again, IU is an intermediate unit. And in our system, there were several IUs that employed people. So we had the bulk of people were employed by Chester County Intermediate Unit, but there were a few people who were employed by Allegheny Intermediate Unit. There were a couple people who were employed by Berks County Intermediate Unit. Our leadership was employed through Lancaster, Lebanon Intermediate Unit. So Rosemary was like, it's a whole bunch of intermediate units that are already managing people. Why can't they just shift you to another intermediate unit? So of course I'm like, I don't know how this works or whatever. But Rosemary was like, I mean, that seems very feasible for them to be able to just shift you to another IU. So I was like, okay, cool. So let me make sure that, I communicate that, because clearly she thinks it's fairly simple, right? So that happened on December 23rd, which again was that Wednesday before winter break. So let me go back to my calendar. So we go back to work on maybe December 5th, maybe. No, I think maybe December, Lord, I'm saying December. On January 4th, I think we went back to work on January 4th. Because we didn't have like 2 full weeks and all that. So I think January 4th is when we went back to work, and I have something on my unofficial calendar that looks like I was at work that day. Okay. So January 4th, I get back to work. January 4th is a Monday. Right. So again, the last communication that I got from HR Mary was on December 22nd, that because of the holidays, there might be a delay. In my mind, you had a week before we left for break, 9 days before we left for break. I'm gonna give you a couple days when we get back, right? To wrap things up, whatever, get your stuff ready together. Cool. Well, in the meantime, January 6th happens. So January 6th was a Wednesday. I was in a meeting with a school actually with the districts. I was in a meeting with a superintendent, assistant superintendent, and some administrators. And it was in the afternoon because I want to think that everything popped off somewhere around 1 something, maybe Eastern. So um we're like getting up, we get off because we're like, what is going on? Like, are y'all seeing the news right now? Like, what is happening? Right. So we get off the phone, off the Zoom call. I go to the news and saw what y'all saw on January 6th. What the hell? Right? What the hell? Now, remind you, I am in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And something that I learned about Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So Harrisburg is the capital of Pennsylvania. It's in the center of the state. And what I learned about Harrisburg is that they call Pennsylvania Pennsyltucky. I called it Pennsylvania or Pennsylsippy or Pennsylvania, right? It very much mirrored the middle Pennsylvania, specifically Harrisburg, very much mirrored the deep Jim Crow South. Like the day that they called the presidential election, um, I believe it was a Saturday that they called it. And I remember being very excited. Pennsylvania had come through and we got those electoral votes and all of that. And they called the election for Biden. And I was just so happy that we did not have to endure another 4 years of outright bigotry. So I leave my house and I decide I'm going to go to the market. So there was an Amish market that was near my home. And it was like the highlight of my weekend if I could go to the market. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm literally skipping down the street, listening to The Wiz, A Brand New Day. Can you feel a brand new day? Right. So I am like in the zone, so excited. I'm about to go to the market and get me some lemonade and a crab stuffed pretzel. I remember like it was yesterday. And as I was skipping to the market, this same day, there was a Stop the Steal rally, right? So Harrisburg is the capital. So where are people going to go to protest? To the capital, right? And I lived really close to the capital, like within walking distance. It might have been like a 30-minute walk. So the Stop the Steal rally was going on, and but they just called the election, so I'm skipping. I'm skipping to the market, skipping to the market. I just so happened to look down this alley as I'm skipping, and there's a group of armed white supremacists who are putting on their gear. And I was like, oh shit. I need to take my black ass home. So I aborted that mission. I went back home and was like, I'll just order Uber Eats. Like, it's not safe. It's not safe for me to be outside. I grew up in Louisiana. I am very familiar with the Ku Klux Klan. I am very familiar with white supremacists. I got it. Got it. Let me go on home. Right. So that happened in November, like when the election happened. So I'm telling you all of that because I want you to kind of understand what the state is like and what many of the people are like that live there, which is why Pennsylvania is purple, because there's just as many of these type of people as there are people that, you know, have a more progressive way of thinking. So January 6th happens. I am appalled. I'm disgusted. I am just like, you got to be kidding me that this is what just happened. So, I I say to myself, this would be the perfect time for us as a system to make some type of statement denouncing this, right? Of course, like that later that day, the next day, like there are all kind of statements flying out from organizations about how they denounced the insurrection at the Capitol. It wasn't okay. We're in support of democracy, like whatever all those things were that the people were saying at the time. And I had not seen anything from our system. And now remember, we are school improvement. Our primary clientele, or our only clientele, are schools that are failing. But the majority of the students that we are talking about are Black and Brown students. And we just saw an attack on democracy by a group of armed white people who want to uphold this systemic oppression. So, since we supposed to be out here fighting on the front lines, right, for these schools and for these children, clearly we want to make a statement, right? Clearly, our leaders in our system need to be saying something to us because, again, the next day we had to go to work like nothing happened. We sitting in meetings and things are all heavy, and we don't even have words to say unitedly about where we stand. What are we even calling this? What? Y'all just think we about to go into these meetings with these people and it's not gonna come up? So y'all just not gonna talk about it, right? Okay. So I did two things on January 7th. One of the things I did is I sent an email to HR Mary, and let me share this with y'all. So January 7th, I sent an email to HR Mary. I say, hi, Happy New Year. I wanted to follow up once more to see where we are with next steps. Thank you for the update, right? So I want you to know, because mind you, I done got back. We got back to work on January 4th. This is now Thursday, January 7th. So it has been the 9 days before we left for break, plus 4 more days that have passed, because this is a Thursday, right? So that's a total of 13 days. So by this time, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to go ask questions about what happened. This seemed like top priority to me, right? So I'm following up. So that's one of the things that I did on January 7th. The other thing that I did on January 7th is I sent an email to Kristen and Rosemary. Okay. So we done had, all these conversations about what occurred. So we've talked about this toxic environment. We've talked about how it has felt for me as a Black woman in this environment, right? And now the insurrection was yesterday. So y'all see what I'm talking about, right? So I'm like, okay, let me follow up with them too. All right. So here we go. And let me make this bigger so we don't have to squint our eyes to see. All right. All right. January 7th, 2021, 12:35 p.m. To Rosemary and to Kristen. Circling back and checking in. Hi, ladies. I wanted to circle back to see what updates and or directions we have regarding everything that we have discussed. When can we check back in? Okay. All right. So that's January 7th. Later that day, a few minutes later, 13 minutes later, Kristen responds. So Kristen, again, is the leader on our system side, right? So she was at the top of the organizational chart. Hi, Kimberland. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. She stole that from Portia. And again, Portia is, she was also a leader. So Portia was a step under Kristen, Black lady. She was the one who was responsible for carving out this space for me. She also was the one who helped me to advocate through this situation. She's my sorority sister. She's good people. She is really, really, really good people. But at any rate, Kristen thought she was being but this with her happy 2021. I stole that from Portia, whatever. So she says, this is on me. So mind you, I had talked to them was back in November, right? So I had talked to them in November, and Kristen passed me off to HR. So now I've talked to HR in December, and now it's January, and I ain't heard nothing back from you, right? So, okay. And follow back up. She says, this is on me. Stay tuned for some info coming your way today about our next steps for selection of an external equity partner. I got partway through some info gathering communication to you and the equity planning team. I need to finish it and send it to you and the team. Thanks for the message, Kristen. So they had decided in response to my concerns that they should arrange for an external equity partner to come in and support the team on equitable practices, right? So through this, I get connected to equity professional, Dr. Nicole, and she supports us through this, like talks through it with us about what our plan was. And I had crafted a plan. Okay, I'll have to show y'all that one of these times. Like, it was a plan. So they had, referred me to her. Actually, Portia connected me to Dr. Nicole. So Dr. Nicole was an amazing support, and basically wanted to understand, like, why do y'all need me? Because myself, the lady Amber that I worked with, like, we do this, right? So she was like, what y'all need me for? And basically we were like, look, it's bad. Like, they are not listening to us. Like, we're trying to tell them what's going on. They're not listening to us. So we need somebody else, like, to come in, because they're not hearing us. They are oppressing us. So she was like, bet, got you. So she supported us, and we can talk about that more later. So at any rate, Kristen felt like that was the fix, right? Get this external equity partner, like, boom, bada bing, bada boom, we'll be good to go. Okay. But that's not what I was asking you about, right? I wasn't checking in about that, really. But okay, thank you for that update. So I respond, Happy New Year. Thank you, Kristen. I will await your update. And then I said, I also wanted to say that I think now would be a good time to make some type of statement about where leadership stands on the events that occurred at our nation's capital yesterday. I've been sitting in meetings all day, and the energy is very heavy in the room. In my opinion, now is the perfect time to make a direct and explicit stand that will set the stage for the work ahead. This equity work, right, that you just said that you was working on, right, and you was going to tell me and the team what was up. I don't want us to give the impression that we condone through silence. Thank you for your consideration. And again, this was sent on January 7th. Okay, so the insurrection happened on the 6th in the afternoon. This is a full 24 hours later. Ain't no kind of message came out. Y'all don't think something needs to be said? Like, what's going on? So I sent my email. That was January 7th. All right. So now we come to later on that day. So I sent my email. So I sent my email January 7th, 2:16 p.m. Kristen is the one who I responded at first. Now this time, Rosemary responds, 2:41 p.m. Thanks for the suggestion, Kimberlyn. I know the intermediate unit executive directors sent messages to their respective employees this morning. That's from Rosemary. Special assistant to the secretary for federally designated schools. That was her title. So anyway, so The IUs did it. I know the IUs sent out stuff. Well, mind you, the majority of the people that are employed in our system are through Chester County Intermediate Unit. We didn't have anything. Nobody has sent anything out, right? One. Two, I wasn't talking about them. I'm talking to y'all, the leaders. Y'all need to say something, right? Okay. So I respond, 5:11 p.m. I said, I understand. Unfortunately, I haven't seen anything from anyone from CCIU. But nonetheless, I thought it would be a great opportunity for our system to be clear in where we stand. I hope you all have a great evening. All right. Later on that evening, 6:23 p.m., this is Rosemary's response. Our system is clear on what we stand for: diversity, equity, and inclusion. We demonstrate that through action, how we treat each other and the systems with whom we partner, and how we create a space that value and respect each other speaks louder than any public message ever could. Yo, I just finished 2 parts of telling y'all about the environment in this system that I had to report to HR. We stand for diversity, equity, and inclusion. We demonstrate that through action, how we treat each other and the systems with whom we partner, and how we create a space that values and respects each other speaks louder than any public message ever could. Girl, is you confused? Like, what? Because this space that I'm sitting in, ma'am, that I just finished talking to you about back in November, that I had to report in December, is not an affirming space, ma'am. What are you talking about? Rosemary got mad. She felt some type of way. So that let me know, oh, Rosemary, you not really trying to change nothing at all. So now you hold responsibility as the person on behalf of the Department of Education that we report to, that you support a system that is traumatizing Black employees, Black educators, Black children, Black schools. You support that. Okay, Rosemary, thank you. So you know what I said? I said, okay, I understand. Thank you for your response. Okay, girl. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Right? Okay. So this is all January 7th. You can see right here, this January 7th at 8:14 p.m. I was like, cool. Cool. Got it. Right? Okay. The insurrection happened on the 6th. I told y'all. This communication was on the 7th. January 8th, we finally get an email from the executive director of Chester County Intermediate Unit. Okay. So I'm going to show y'all that email. So this is the next day at 8:59 a.m. This is the email. Moving forward, be a helper. Okay. Dear Team CCIU, as we entered into the new year having high hopes for what it would bring, Wednesday's events in Washington, D.C. served as a wake-up call that a new year doesn't necessarily guarantee a fresh start. I am sad for our children who had to witness the jarring events that took place on Wednesday. I am disappointed that violence was used to interrupt one of the most sacred tenets of democracy, the peaceful transition of power. But the good news is that our democracy prevailed, as it always has. I am hopeful that 2021 will ultimately bring new beginnings and brighter futures for all. These traumatic events are difficult for all of us, especially our students. Some students may be confused, sad, frightened, angry, or express other emotions. It is always best to engage students in age-appropriate conversations during difficult times with kindness and compassion. I'm reminded of a quote from Mr. Fred Rogers. When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, "Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping." As members of a civilized society, we don't always need to agree, but we must always treat others with dignity and respect. We must remember to embrace civility and commonality so that we can work and live with each other for the greater good, even when emotions run high. We must be the helpers. The CCIU is committed to ensuring that our students and staff understand the importance of engaging in discourse and discussion, especially when we do not share similar views or beliefs. Respecting the differences of others is what makes us a better and stronger society, one that our children can thrive in and be proud of now and in the future. Stay well, respectfully, Dr. George Fiore. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think about that letter. Y'all let me know. Because what I read, let me put it back up here. Let me put it back up here so we can see what good old George had to say. What I read in this letter is democracy prevailed. Where? When? Because if y'all remember, by Friday, January 8th, ish was crazy. Yes, they certified the election and all of that, but the nation was in chaos. So that's interesting that you thought democracy prevailed. Interesting. Second thing, you're so concerned about the students. F their families, F the teachers, F the administrators, F the school leadership, district leadership, F your employees. You're not worried about none of that. It's the kids. And when we talk to the kids, make sure these conversations are age appropriate now. Don't be sitting up here telling them the true truth, okay? Make sure it's age appropriate. And then don't worry about all this other stuff that's helping or hurting. Look for the helpers. Look for the helpers. You know, the people that are like cleaning up the mess. You know, like the people that had to clean up the White House after they literally shit on the floor. The helpers. Look for them. That's where you need to focus. And then, most importantly, we need to make sure we might not agree with everybody, but we got to be kind to everybody. Even the people that want you dead, even the people that that did storm the Capitol and tried to disrupt democracy, even the people that killed police officers who were trying to defend our country and democracy, these back the blue people that killed police officers, these people that wanted to lynch the vice president of the United States, these people that spew their vile and hateful things. We got to respect them, y'all, because it's just a difference of opinion. That's all it is. It's just a difference of opinion. Relax. So I saw that message on January 8th, and that further underscored for me that this place is not okay. That these people do not care about equity, diversity, and inclusion, as good old Rosemary told us. They are not concerned with that at all. So I took in that message and I was like, cool. All right. I see what we're dealing with, right? So that was January 8th. January 11th is the next time that I received communication. Oh, no, I'm sorry. HR Mary did reply on January 8th. So let me go ahead and share that with you all because I don't want to be accused of not telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. All right. So January 8th, I had emailed at January 7th, 6:24 p.m. So that very next morning. January 8th, HR Mary says, "Hi, Kimberland. Happy New Year. I hope you had a relaxing break. I still have high hopes for this year, although I feel like this week was a very long week." This is how she addresses the insurrection. She still got high hopes. It was a long week. We had our last interview on Wednesday night, and we are in the process of writing up our findings. One of the next steps will be a meeting with you and Jana. Before it is scheduled, I want you to think about a neutral person you would want to be included in the meeting. I appreciate your patience through this process. Do not hesitate to contact me with any additional questions or concerns. HR Mary. When I met with her, I made it very clear I do not desire a mediation with the woman who has been causing me trauma. There is no reason to have a mediation with the woman who has been causing me trauma. Y'all could talk to her, but I don't have a desire to talk to her for her to further gaslight me. Why, HR Mary, are you coming back to me after I made it very clear twice times? Because you asked me on December 14th when I was talking to you and reporting it. You asked me again on December 17th when I talked to you for the second time and told you again, I want a different evaluator and I want these behaviors to stop. And now on January 8th, you're gonna tell me I need to be ready to have a meeting with my abuser. And I need to think about a neutral party I might want to be present. So I'm gonna just take y'all through the next few emails. Good afternoon, Mary. Please clarify the purpose of a meeting with Jana. Thank you. Hi, Kimberland. The purpose of the meeting is to establish a path for you and Jana to work together moving forward. Good morning, Mary. This is now January 11th, right? So the last communication that this was on, I don't have a date for that one. I'll have to look that up. But this was happening on January 8th as I was asking for clarification. All right. January 8th was January 8th was a Friday, I think. Yeah, January 8th was a Friday. So that Monday, January 11th, I respond. Good morning, Mary. Thank you for your response. Please outline the full plan for ensuring a workplace free from hostility, intimidation, dismissiveness, and minimizing of the concerns I have raised. In our meeting on December 14th, 2020, I very clearly stated I do not desire a mediation with Jana, as it creates an atmosphere of additional trauma, placing me in a position of having to rehash the experiences, both overt and covert, that I have already clearly communicated to you as my human resources representative. I can't help but notice the one-sided power dynamic you are suggesting here of having Jana, my supervisor, you, the human resources supervisor, myself, the offended party, and a neutral party present for a meeting on how to move forward. This further supports a culture of intimidation and lays the framework for further covert actions that create a hostile work environment. Please help me to understand the big picture and what this is to accomplish. I would also like to follow up on the suggestion by Rosemary that I be placed under the employment of a different IU that can meet my original request of a different supervisor. I understand that there are currently several members of the CSI system who work for different IUs. Where are we with executing next steps towards this? The next email that I get, so I told you I sent this email on January 11th, 2021. That's a Monday. I don't hear back from Mary. The next email that I get after 3 days of silence is from Danielle, the Assistant Director of Human Resources, who she was actually promoted to director. But I want y'all to look at this right here. Anybody know what those initials stand for? Juris Doctorate. Danielle's a lawyer. Interesting. Let's continue. So it's now January 14th, Thursday, that morning. Subject, follow-up. That's it. There's no anything else. That's an identifier, follow-up. Now, let me say something, because this is something that's going to come up a few times as we go through this, right? Because hold on, let me let y'all be able to see me good. I am very, very observant of small things that people do that they otherwise wouldn't normally do. This is the, at the time, Assistant Director of Human Resources. And the way that she titled this email, follow-up, to what? To what? Anybody that works in a corporate-ish type of environment where you have to send emails, you know, one of the things that you should do is have a clear subject. This is a professional environment. This lady, did I show y'all? Let me show y'all her credentials again. Juris Doctorate and an educational doctorate. Ma'am, you is learned. You is learned. Why are you sending me an email that just says follow-up in the subject line without being clear? Ma'am, you are the Assistant Director of Human Resources, ma'am. All right, I'm just pointing some things out. But anyway, this is gonna come up again. I'm gonna talk to y'all again as we're going through this about this intentionality, because that was meant to be disarming, right? Casual. Oh, follow up, it's casual, right? I'm not even, wasting time putting all kind of extra stuff. We're chums. That's the type of impression that it gives, and that is not what this is. Okay. All right. Follow up. Dear Kimberlyn, thank you for meeting with Mary to express your concerns. Mary and I would like to meet with you to go over the findings of our investigation into your concerns. Are you available at any of the following dates and times? Friday, that next day. So hold on. Let me go back to my calendar. So this again is Thursday. Yeah, that was the next damn day, y'all. Friday, the next day at 11, 12, or 2:30. Wednesday, the 20th at 3, 3:30, or 4, or Thursday, the 21st at 10 or 12. Please let me know and I will send a calendar invitation with the Zoom link. Thank you. Y'all got that? This is at 9:48 a.m. 1:54 p.m. that afternoon. So original communication, was at 9:48 a.m. So let me tell you what I'm doing in the meantime, because I already know I need to have this quote unquote neutral party. So I'm reaching out to Portia. Portia, this is what's going on. Can you please come to this meeting with me? Now, Portia was actually transitioning out of our system at the time. I'm not going to tell Portia's story, but I'm going to just say that there are patterns. So Thursday, January 14th at about 10 a.m., you send me these dates. Am I available these dates? The next day, 3 times, the next Wednesday, the next Thursday, a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 options. Okay. So I reach out to Portia. Hey, Portia, are you available any of these dates? Well, before Portia could get back with me, I get another email at 1:54 p.m. from Danielle. Dear Kimberland, I apologize, but I need to withdraw these suggested times I offered you for next week. What time are you available to meet with us tomorrow? We're available at 11:12 or at or after 2:30 p.m. Thank you for understanding, Danielle. I'm going to just ask y'all, what type of feelings might this type of email give you? So again, I followed up with Mary, HR Mary, back here on January 11th. I called her out on saying that I needed to have this mediation with Jana. Where are we would get me with a different IU? Because clearly y'all not trying to protect me, right? January 11th. I don't hear back from Mary. I hear from Danielle on January 14th. She asked me about these 3 dates. Mind you, I don't even know who this lady is, okay? She hasn't introduced herself. Hi, Kimberlyn. I'm Danielle, the assistant director, blah, 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 blah. She didn't do none of that. I don't deserve that. I deserve to get this random ass email with follow-up in the subject line from some lady named Danielle that I don't know. She sends me her dates, January 14th. Then she tells me, no, strike that. We need to meet tomorrow. What time? So I call Portia. I ask her which time she can be there. I'm feeling very, very, very pressured. I'm scared. I'm like, okay, so they're going to fire me. Great. All right. Well, okay. You already knew you was going to have to leave Pennsylvania. So, all right, we going to have to figure this out. It's all right. Whatever. Because I don't know what you want, right? So I say, let me try to get my faculties together. So I respond back at 3:32. So I finally heard back from Portia. So I respond back. I said, good afternoon, Danielle. I'm available at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. Portia will be joining me. Please include her on the calendar invite. I also request that I be allowed to record the meeting for my records. Please advise on if there is anything else that I need to know or be prepared to discuss prior to entering the space. Thank you. So again, this is Thursday, January 14th at 3:32, okay? We don't get off until 5. Danielle is on this email. Mary is on this email. They don't respond. Not for real. 3:35, Danielle says, thank you, Kimberly and Mary, and I look forward to meeting with you and Portia tomorrow. Y'all see anything missing? Because I definitely asked for some clarification. Because again, you just sent me this email out the blue. I don't know you. I see in your title that you are the assistant director of HR at the time. I'm asking you for clarification. Please advise on if there's anything else that I need to know or be prepared to discuss prior to entering the space. And your response is, we'll talk to you tomorrow, girl. So now I'm stressing. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what this is going to look like. I'm trying to get support from anywhere. Like, what the hell? So the next morning, I respond, 8:37 a.m. I said, good morning, Danielle. Please see the bolded inquiry below and provide a response. So I copied and pasted what I had sent the day before, where I very clearly said, please advise on if there's anything else that I need to know or be prepared to discuss prior to entering the space. This is the morning of. At 8:59. Good morning. Our discussion will be limited to addressing your concerns and a plan of action. There will be no other subjects discussed. We look forward to meeting with you later today. Okay. So it is now January 15th, a Friday, 2:30 p.m. We got to go into this meeting. Before the meeting, I call Portia and I say, this is the best way that you can support me. Can you please look for places where you might need to nudge me to be able to say something that I've already brought up? Or if you hear something that isn't okay, can you please speak up on my behalf so that it won't just go flying by? Full on panic attack. Like, even as I'm sitting here thinking about it, because I know what happens, full on panic attack. Like, I was pacing. Like, I remember I was pacing. I was wringing my hands. I was crying. I was trying to breathe. I was trying to pray. I was trying to figure something out. Like, I remember I had 3 stories in my apartment. I was on the 3rd floor, and I remember thinking to myself, I needed to be careful because my legs were weak. And I felt like if I went that when I went to go down the stairs, I might fall. So I was like, I need to be really, really, really careful because I wasn't okay, like at all. So Portia kind of gets me together. She's like, it's okay. Like, you got this. I'm with you. Like, it's going to be okay. So we go into the meeting at 2:30 p.m. on January 15th, 2021. Okay. And that's where we pick up with the video. All right. I'm all right. I'm all right, y'all. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. Whew. See, this is the part where I be realizing like that stuff has still is still affecting me, and I might not.
Thank you.
I'll record it.
So I'm doing my best over here to manage myself. Okay. All right. So again, this is, you can see the timestamp down here at the bottom, January 15th, 2021. This is 2:33 p.m.
Thank you.
I'll record it then too. Will that work
Sure.
if we both do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I've also prepared an impact statement that I would like to share. So whenever that time is available, I would like to be able to do that, please.
Okay. I would like to hear that as well. Did you have any questions about anything before we get started?
Not at this moment.
So this is Danielle that's speaking.
Right.
So she's the assistant director of
so
HR at the time.
As you know, we investigated the concerns that you brought to Mary Franciscus. Mary interviewed you a couple of times and communicated with you. And we really appreciate your honesty, and we really appreciate you taking the time to share those concerns with us, because it's really important for us to, as an organization and as people, to know that our employees are feeling like they're in a comfortable workspace and a comfortable work situation. And beyond that, it's our duty. So I just wanted to start out by saying that, and that we appreciate that, and I know it could not have been easy for you. So the way that Mary and I kind of organized your concerns were into 2 groups. One was specifically with Dr. Weller, and then another was kind of with the whole statewide team. Do you agree?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So I find it interesting here, and I did notice the shift during the time. So, as you know, I've been calling my supervisor Jonna. Well, all of a sudden now in this space, she's Dr. Weller. Um, that was done with intention, right? And because I don't have a doctorate, right? So I need to understand that we're talking about Dr. Weller.
And if it's okay with you, I'd like to address the statewide team ones first, just because I feel like it's to be frank, it's easier.
Mhm. Sure.
So as we understand, sometimes SIFs and regional leads pop into meetings after they've already started. And sometimes they text during the meetings. And I understand that you were told that, even what they were texting about for one meeting. I understand also that you offered to provide notes to one of the SIFs as opposed to having him enter the meeting an hour late. And but nonetheless, he entered the meeting an hour late. Is that correct?
No, not that particular meeting. He did
Not
not
that
enter
one.
late, but
It was another meeting.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that also that they're invited to the meetings, but they didn't accept. They don't accept. They just
Yeah, right.
Correct.
So you don't know if they're coming or not coming.
That is
right?
correct.
Mind you, I've already clarified all of this with Mary. So why am I having to re-clarify? Because I've already clarified this on video, right? Because Mary asked me that same question. So we've already had this conversation. But go off, Danielle. Go off.
Right. And then the other big area that we heard was about a hostile work environment in a particular school.
That's
correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. And I know that you reached out to Portia and I believe Liz
That's
about
correct.
that. Yes. So I don't know the status of the communication about that. And so we, that I can't tell you what the result is because I don't know the status about that.
Understood.
But what we need to do, because the statewide team consists of people from the CCIU and from IU 13 and 14 and 3 and lots of different people.
So remember when I was telling y'all all the different IUs that are involved in this system, right? So she just named them off, which again, Rosemary had told me, why don't they just put you with another IU? Because there are so many that are there. So Danielle just named off all of those IUs.
We need to, Dr. O'Neill and I, do you know who Dr. O'Neill is? Dr. Noreen
I do not.
O'Neill? Okay, she's in charge of the grant project for CCIU, and she is Dr. Weller's supervisor.
Okay.
You all will meet
Dr.
her
O'Neill
as
and
well.
I plan to have a meeting with all the IU partners. I believe it's going to be scheduled in the very, very near future to discuss our findings, to discuss, not necessarily to call you out and say this is what Kimberlyn shared with us, but to say that we've learned that these things are going on statewide and in the meetings, and we'd like to come up with a plan to collaboratively work together to either collect more data to find out more information, and then whether we need to collect more data or not, we need to come up with a plan of action to support training and set expectations for professionalism and teamwork. So is that that's as far as we can go with that part of it right now, because we don't have direct control over it.
I understand, and none of those concerns will be surprises to any of the parties that are involved. They have been communicated many times, so
Okay.
I understand.
Right. Okay, great. So the next part that we want to focus on is your concerns as they related to Dr. Weller. And again, we kind of broke them into 4 different areas. The launch course and the whole interaction with her about that, the 90-day performance evaluation, the statewide team meeting on November 6th, and the roll-alike meeting on November 9th. Is that accurate?
Those are instances. So
Okay.
sure.
Did we miss anything?
There are I don't know that it's that you missed. I don't know how you categorize things. So I'm not certain what falls in what, under what heading right now. So
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
So as I'm watching this back, it's like the whole time she's trying to get me to make a commitment to say that something is okay, but you're not giving me enough information to be able to make a determination. I'm very grateful that I knew enough to be like, I don't know. I don't know how I don't know how you're categorizing stuff. Like I don't know what you put in what bucket. I have no idea. So until I hear what the hell you found or have to say, I don't know. But now I see that she was trying to get me to make a commitment with this much information when I had given you a whole book of information.
So well,
I have
let's
a
just jump right
question.
in. And
I
I
was going to
think,
say, I have a question.
yes, go ahead, Portia.
With that, I'm wondering, it would be helpful to me if we go over the incidents that you identified, and then can we, if anything is missing,
Yep.
Kimberlyn can address, like,
Yep.
okay.
So,
So I can't remember. I don't really remember what was happening at the time, but I remember that I was grateful that Portia spoke up because I really didn't even, I was just, I was having an out of body experience. So I was really grateful that she spoke up to advocate for me in that moment.
I'm just going to actually, well, I was trying to decide. I guess we could go through the, the facts that we found. I was going to just share with you the findings, but let's go through the facts part of it. And Mary, would you like to summarize? Not that I can't, but just so that we're participating here. Starting with the launch course, you could just summarize what Kimberlyn told you
Sure.
about how she was given high visibility and so forth.
Sure. So I don't have my notes up, but it will take me a second.
I do. So why don't I go ahead with that, and then you can jump in if I miss something, okay?
This sure feels mighty disorganized to me. Like, did you not have a plan for how you were going to come into this meeting and address and report out your findings? Like, why y'all fumbling about? Like, what is going on? Mary's just there. She ain't, oh, I don't even have my computer open. Danielle is like, oh, I don't even know where to start. Like, what are you? Let me go ahead on and keep going.
Okay. All right. So basically, and excuse me, I do have to refer to my notes just because I don't want to miss details. Okay. So, so we heard that you were given high visibility during the course, meaning like the trainers were calling you out a lot, like commenting on your hair and your glasses and like cold calling on you and so forth. And that made you feel uncomfortable because it felt like they were fixating on you. And you also mentioned that they were doing a similar thing to Reginald Hickman, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
And I'll just fill in.
Yeah.
Also, it was brought to Kimberly's attention by another regional and team improvement team member that they recognized the microaggressions that were towards Kimberly during the training.
Yes. And can I pause there and ask, when we say microaggressions, what is your understanding of what that means?
For me, I can speak to that. From the microaggressions to me would be part of the high visibility, calling you out on your appearance, and then also overcalling on you, because I know you had told me the level of your engagement had changed. Correct. Based on how they kept on engaging with you specifically.
Correct.
And so that's my understanding. I could be totally off base.
Do you have a different understanding, Kimberlyn, or is there a different meaning that you had behind that term?
Well, there's the actual definition. So I just want to make sure that we are using.
So let me pause there for a second. So if you remember back in part 1 or 2, I had been talking to HR Mary about microaggressions, and she does not know what that is, right? She was trying to get information from me. So even in this instance where I'm asking, what is your understanding of what microaggressions are? She gives me examples of types of microaggressions that I shared with her that I experienced. But as far as her understanding of what a microaggression is, mm-mm. Then you notice Danielle is like, oh, well, let me shoot it back up. Do you have a different definition? Yeah, the definition that it actually is. Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm.
Common language and understanding.
Mhm.
So microaggressions are defined as a statement, action, or incident regarded as an instance of indirect, subtle, or unintentional discrimination against members of a marginalized group. So I just want to be sure that when I say that, that there's a clear understanding of what that means.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We're on the same page there. So, okay. So, when you went to share these concerns with Dr. Weller, she responded to something to the effect they're from the South, like you know,
That's
like
correct. It wasn't
you know,
about race.
yeah, that they're from the South, and we understand that this made you that response made you feel devalued and kind of invalidated your feelings. You you also mentioned that, or I guess Dr. Weller told you that she would tell the trainers that you were looking for equity of voice, but then you think what happened was they interpreted that as you wanted to talk more. So it didn't help the situation.
So that's not completely correct.
Okay.
That is what Dr. Weller said, that their interpretation of equity of voices is that it was probably that they thought that I meant that I wanted to have my voice heard more. That was her response, not mine.
Okay. Okay.
So did Dr. Weller then go to the trainers and tell them about how you felt you were giving high visibility yourself and Reginald Hickman?
I do not know. She has never followed up with me about that. That was in October, and I have heard no updates.
Okay.
Mind you, they have talked to her, right? Y'all saying that y'all did these interviews, all this kind of stuff. Why are you asking me what she did? I don't know what she did. I'm telling you what happened to me, right? And then even the whole tone of this whole like, so you felt like high visibility? Like it's a question. I already stated what this stuff is in a recorded video. It's recorded. I just showed it to y'all.
So so before we get into what we found, you know, from investigating, are there any other facts that need to be clarified or restated?
Not necessarily. I would like to go ahead and read my impact statement though, because I think that does lend to what it may possibly be happening here. So, though microaggressions are indirect, subtle, and even unintentional, they have a maximum impact on one's environment. And I do have a question for you. Would it be fair to say that Chester County IU stands against this type of behavior?
Absolutely.
On December 14th, I agreed to meet with Mary Franciscus to discuss my concerns. I asked that the meeting be recorded so that I would have record and documentation of what was stated. In that meeting, I was very clear and gave explicit details to what I have experienced. When asked in that meeting what I would like to see happen, I expressed that I need a different supervisor and I need the behaviors to stop immediately. I asked for an assurance that there would not be any further retaliation, overt or covert incidents that could further cause a hostile work environment for me. On December 16th and 17th, I was asked again what I would like to see happen. And I restated what I clearly stated on December 14th. On December 17th, I was also told in that meeting that Jonna is and would be the supervisor. I could bring someone with me to the evaluation space, but the implied message is I would not be receiving a different supervisor. The statement was also shared that Jonna may be coming from a place of ignorance. Respectfully, I must point out that her ignorance is not my burden to bear. It is the supervisor's responsibility to immediately and appropriately deal with concerns that are brought to them. If that is not the case, it is not my job to understand the ignorance because the impact of the ignorance caused me additional trauma. I'd like to unpack the most recent experiences I have had with this process and the communication that has transpired. I asked for policies and understanding on December 8th, such as an organizational chart, harassment, and whistleblower policies. This led to a string of emails because these documents were not readily available on the website or existing in a form that doesn't apply to me as an employee. After the 12-14 through 12-17 conversations, I received word that I would be updated after winter break. In my response to that, I asked some questions that I hope to get clarity on here today. Is having someone join me in my evaluation my only recourse, since it was clearly stated that Jana is the supervisor? What is the long-term viable solution? If the environment continues to be inappropriate, dismissive, toxic, and hostile, what is the next course of action? Please outline all possible contingencies. Please share the next steps in getting us closer to the place of establishing a healthy and positive workspace. On January 7th, I followed.
So remember, these were the questions that I had asked to Mary, HR Mary, in the email that were never addressed, right? So these were questions that I had said, how are we going to get to resolution? Is this the only solution? Blah, 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 what have you. Those questions were never answered.
Up to ask about our progress towards next steps. I was told the next step would be a meeting with Jana where I could bring a neutral person. On Friday, January 8th, I asked for clarity on the purpose of a meeting with Jana. I was told to establish a path for Jana and I to work together to move forward. On Monday, January 11th, I again asked for the full plan for ensuring a workplace free from hostility, retaliation, intimidation, dismissiveness, and minimizing of the concerns I have raised. I referenced the original 12-14 meeting where I clearly stated in the recorded session that I do not desire to have a mediation with Jana, as it further exacerbates the trauma I have already encountered and endured. I pointed out the unbalanced power dynamic of being requested to attend a meeting with my supervisor, who I have filed a complaint against, a human resources representative who is here for protection of the company, myself, the complainant, and a neutral party. I also asked where we are in the process of following up on a suggestion made by Rosemary Hughes of my employment with another IU in order to fulfill the original request of a different supervisor. None of these questions or inquiries were addressed in the email. In fact, there was no response or acknowledgement of my email at all until yesterday at 9:48 a.m., where I received an email from the Human Resources Assistant Director, who I at that point had had no interactions with, inviting me to attend a meeting to go over the findings of the investigation and my concerns. I was provided with dates ranging from the next day, today, 1:15, through next Thursday, January 21st. This was followed up by withdrawal of the next week's dates at 1:54 p.m. to ask what time I was available today, with less than 24 hours notice. I was not asked if I was available. I was simply asked when I was available, assuming I had the ability to drop anything I may have had planned in less than 24 hours to join this meeting. Keep in mind that during this time, I am also working, facilitating school meetings, serving and supporting schools. I was able to rearrange my schedule and respond to this request at 3:32 p.m. to state that I would be attending today. I asked for advisement on anything else I needed to know or be prepared to discuss prior to entering this space. Again, that was ignored, and a response was provided. I look forward to meeting with you and Portia tomorrow. I followed up to ask once more this morning what I should be prepared to know or discuss in this space. Knowledge is power, and that knowledge was not given to me, even after explicit asks. Having outlined this string of interactions, my question to you is, what impact do you think this exchange had on my mental, social, emotional, and physical health? If you put yourself in my shoes, do you think this made me feel supported and valued? Or do you think these experiences have further exacerbated feelings of anxiety, worry, stress, and fear?
So I'm gonna pause it right there for a second. I'm gonna leave it up so y'all can just see the faces. I already gave a spoiler in this that they did not do the right thing. And I'm about to let y'all see what happened. Some of what happened, and then we'll have to continue next time. But I am so proud of myself. I can tell that I have been crying. My nose is red. I can see it. You can see I am very devoid of emotion. So I had to disconnect from my body to be able to fight for myself in this space without emotions seeping in. I am so proud of myself, the way that I called them out. I really am. And I just felt like I needed to say that. Um, because so many times we take this behavior and we internalize this behavior and we keep that energy inside of us, knowing that we've been wronged, knowing that something has happened that shouldn't have happened, but we don't want to do this, right? We don't want to sit across from these people having to plead our case. And I'm not here to shame anybody who has been like, I can't do that, right? Because this is not easy. Like, it's not easy. I already told y'all, they're trying to get me to not talk about this because they know what they did, right? And I was very intentional in the questions that I asked about, are you saying that Chester County Intermediate Unit is committed to a space that is free from microaggressive behavior? Yes, oh yes, we are. Yet the Human Resources Department was responsible for microaggressive behavior. And I was able to capture that and pull that out. And I'm proud of that. So I just read that impact statement. There's more, but I just paused to ask them about the human aspect, right? How would it make you feel if that happened to you? How do you think that it made me feel that you all ignored numerous times the questions that I've asked, the concerns that I've raised? You decided to not communicate with me for 3 days. Then you decide to communicate with me, ask me if I'm available these particular days, but then tell me I need to be here tomorrow. I ask you for clarification. You refuse to give me that as well. So now we're sitting in this space. I want you to know. I want you to tell me. How do you think, how would that make you feel? And how do you think it made me feel? Let's listen for their response.
So I did respond to you about when you followed up, I responded back.
First response, defensiveness. I did follow up. Now, I just showed y'all the string of emails. I just went through all of this with you all because I wanted to be very intentional in making sure that you all can see the timeline. Y'all just heard me say the exact same timeline that I told to y'all. Now, I'm telling this lady, this is what you did. And she responds and says, I did respond to you. Did you, Danielle?
That I mean, maybe I didn't understand the question, but I said that we
Now
were
she gonna pretend like she
we were going to
ignorant.
be
She didn't
talking about
understand the
the
question.
concerns that you raised. You know, was there something else that you were looking for that I could have shared with you?
So I responded again this morning and asked for clarity, and you answered the question that was not in the original communication. But I think the larger point here is also there were dates that were given. Those dates were then retracted with no explanation for me to drop everything to appear in 24 hours, in less than 24 hours. So my question again is, how do you think that made me feel if you put yourself in my shoes of all the experiences that I have had here in this organization? Do you think that made me feel supported and valued? Or do you think those experiences further exacerbated the feelings of anxiety, worry, stress, and fear that I've had to encounter?
Well, I can certainly understand how you would feel with regard to that. To be honest, we wanted to get to the opportunity to speak with you so that it wasn't dragging it out any longer for you. And when I realized that we have the Martin Luther King holiday on Monday, and then like my day was totally booked on Tuesday, and that the best thing I could offer you is Wednesday and Thursday, I thought, oh, this is not, you know, I felt like I was not giving you the attention that you needed by extending it out that long. So that was my intention. And I do apologize if it was not received the way I intended.
So let me go back to the email, right? Because I want to make sure that we're being intentional and giving giving Danielle the opportunity to really to have the truth be told. Okay, so Danielle said that she apologizes if for some reason I didn't get the fact that she was trying to be expedite this process because they had made me wait so long. Okay, so we gonna go back to the email. We gonna see what Danielle said. And I want to remind y'all, Danielle is an attorney and she holds an educational doctorate, and she is the assistant director of human resources at the time, later promoted to the director. Okay, so what you're not gonna be able to do, Danielle, I hope you're watching this. I know you are. Hey, girl. Hey, what you're not gonna be able to do is act like you didn't know no better. We're not doing that. We're not doing that, Danielle. We are not doing that, Danielle. So let's go ahead on and pull up this here email one more time so y'all can be reminded of what happened when Danielle tried to get this scheduled. Danielle said, let me zoom it back in so we can make sure. Okay. Thursday, January 14th. Keep in mind the last communication that I had with them, with Mary, was on January 11th, where she told me that I needed to be prepared to meet with Jonna. I responded back to her on January 11th, no, ma'am, we're not doing that. I already made that clear. The next email I get is from Danielle. Dear Kimberlyn, thank you for meeting with Mary to express your concerns. Mary and I would like to meet with you to go over the findings of our investigation into your concerns. Are you available at the following dates and times? 9:48 a.m. to 1:54 p.m., almost 2 p.m. Danielle responds again. I apologize, but I need to withdraw the suggested times I offered you for next week. What time are you available to meet tomorrow? Do y'all hear any explanation, read any? Do y'all hear or read any explanation in this email that says, Kimberlyn, I want to make sure we're honoring your time. I want to make sure that that we don't continue belaboring this. I want to expedite this process. In order to do that, I'd like for us to meet tomorrow if that's possible. Do y'all see anything of that? Let me zoom in some more because maybe maybe I'm missing something. So let me zoom in some more so y'all can see. Do you see any of that from Danielle? Let's go back to the video. Because then y'all trying to sit here and play games.
Well, I think there's a question here or a difference here of intention versus impact, which is what a lot of this has been about. There may be good intentions, but the impact was supremely negative on me. Because I had to worry and wonder, am I going to lose my job tomorrow? What's going to happen? I have no idea. I haven't heard anything. There's been no response since Monday. And I get an email saying, oh, well, we can meet this week or next. And then, no, as a matter of fact, we need to meet tomorrow. So the things that I have experienced, even I consider myself a very strong person. However, I have been experiencing panic attacks, loss of sleep, loss of appetite, stress, anxiety, worry. My skin is breaking out. My hair is thinning. I am, and not even to mention the amount of time that I've had to spend to document these experiences. My mental clarity is being addressed. I may not have even had the opportunity to arrange to get a neutral party here with less than 24 hours notice. So it do you understand the impact?
I do.
That
I
is
do.
And I apologize personally because
So before Mary gets to going, because you need to apologize because I have reached out to your ass on January 11th, and you didn't say nothing. But I want to talk about this intention versus impact right quick, because intention versus impact is the way that we shut down this this movement that white people try to do to skirt responsibility. I didn't mean it. That wasn't my intention. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you didn't get it with the intention that it was received. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So just because, and this is a life lesson, y'all. This is a life lesson. Just because you intended for something to come across a certain way does not negate the impact that it had in somebody's real life. There are things that we do all the time with the best intentions, but it has a negative impact. We don't get to go back and say, "You're bad. You really should have just tapped into my intentions." No, you need to be responsible for the impact of your intentions. So, because what I can't do is get inside your brain and determine what your intentions were at the time, if you don't make it clear for me, right? If you don't make it clear in your writing what your intention is, I have no way of knowing what your intention is. But what I do know is the impact that it had on me. Oh, I sure enough know that. And I can speak to that all day and all night because it is my personal lived experience. So again, I'm so proud of myself that I brought up intention versus impact, because you're not going to be able to sit here and skirt around accountability in this moment, Mary and Danielle. You will acknowledge the impact that your specific actions had on me. I cannot say whether those actions were intentional or not. I'm not in your brain. But what I can say is I very clearly shared with you the impact of your actions. So let's hear Mary apologize.
Has gone on for a long time. We wanted to, because of some personal situations that are going on with Dr. Weller, we weren't able to meet with her on a timely basis in order to close the loop with you. And I wish there's something I could have done for that, but unfortunately, because of what's going on with her personally, we just weren't able to meet in a timely fashion. A couple times we met and then we had to discontinue the conversation because of personal things going on in her life right now. And the holiday certainly didn't help. And I apologize for the delay. And I can't say I'm not in your shoes. I am not going to say I completely understand, but I can imagine how this has made you feel. And I apologize for that.
Right.
Because ideally we would have liked to have met with you sooner, but we just needed to close our investigation before we had a chance to meet with you. And I know you sent an email on Monday, but we were just trying to wrap up our investigation so that we had all the answers for you. And that's so we could have the time to meet together. So, because I feel like a lot of things get misrepresented through email, and I think it's better that we're meeting in person. Mm-hmm. But I apologize for the delay. That this meeting is long overdue.
So I appreciate your apology, Mary. I appreciated it at the time. And I still appreciate it today. I appreciate you for somewhat taking accountability for what happened. But I'm going to remind you all, I had to reach back out to them. I told you we went back to work on January 4th. I didn't reach back out until January 7th. Do you not think in the meantime that you should have reached out to me? Hey, Kimberlyn, we didn't forget about you. We're still, doing our investigation. I just want you to know, I understand with the holidays that it has drawn this out, but this is where we are. Did y'all send that communication? Nope. I didn't deserve that. Then when I finally did hear back from you, and then we have this January 11th email discourse where I'm saying to you, we already addressed this. I'm not meeting with Jonna. I don't hear nothing back from you, Mary. I don't hear anything back from you, Mary. Now, I can sit here and I can say what I think happened. What I think happened is Danielle told her stop emailing that she was going to take care of it. But guess what? Guess what that left me? In a situation where I have no idea what's going on. I don't hear anything for 3 days. And then when I do hear something, it's from this lady I never met. She offers me these dates. Then she takes back the dates and basically says, you need to be here tomorrow. This is the assistant director of HR. Intention versus impact. So I'm going to pick back up. There's only a little bit more, and then we're going to stop for today. So I'm going to pick back up and where we left off, because it is now Danielle's turn to apologize. Okay, here we go.
And I want to also tell you that I totally accept you calling me out on that. I feel that I am very ignorant in a lot of ways with, sometimes how I communicate things. And I want you to know that I am doing my best to educate myself so that I don't do that to anyone. Because, I mean, you can see the impact it's having on me. Like, I don't want to ever impact a person, any person, in a negative way. So anyway, I just want you to know that I am on an education journey myself, but it will take time. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. But I want you to know that I personally, and as an organization, we are invested in making things better. So
I understand.
all right.
So I'd love to hear what you all thought in the comments about Danielle's apology. Oh, and let me go ahead and let it keep playing so y'all can see what actually happened. Hold on.
So give me 1 second, please.
So Danielle had to go off camera so that she could get herself together, because she had started crying. Because Danielle is on an educational journey and she's ignorant in a lot of ways. And I told y'all that Danielle is a lawyer. She has a doctorate in education. At the time, she was the assistant director of HR, later promoted to director of HR. But Danielle wants you all to know she just didn't know no better. She just didn't know. And I should be empathetic because she just didn't know no better. So this is where I'm gonna stop for today. It literally was like 3 minutes left in this video, but this is where I'm gonna stop for today. And I would like to hear your responses and reactions in the comments. However many times you feel like you need to say something, because there's been a lot of things that you might want to say something about. So I would love for you to give me your reactions in the comments. Let me know what you think about this part 3. In part 4, we're going to get into their findings of the investigation and how they felt that this situation should be rectified. I'm going to warn you again, it is not good. So I'd be interested to hear what you all have to say. So having said that, I want to thank you again for watching this, for interacting with this. Please do like, please comment, please subscribe, but most importantly, y'all, please share. Now that the word is out, we need to make sure that the people know. Okay, so if you will please share this broadcast with people that you feel might need to see what exactly happened in Pennsylvania school improvement, or people who really just need to know that they are not crazy because they have been experiencing this themselves in their own organizations. So I will be dropping these a whole lot more frequently, y'all. Probably every day if I don't have something super pressing that I have to do. But the frequency has increased expeditiously. So you all can catch me tomorrow with part 4. All right. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all from a real, real place. And I just thank you for being in this advocacy journey with me. So, this is Minding My Black Ass Business. This is not all I'm going to talk about, but this is what I'm talking about right now. So, again, if you will please like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things, because I am committed to dismantling this scam and this sham of school improvement in Pennsylvania. All right, y'all. Bye.